top news headlines from the news desk at the Katanning Paper right now on radio for your neighborhood. AM 1380 and FM 103.7. WTYM, Katanning, Ford City.
A little bit of background, 4 kids, all of them have attended West Shamokin High School. 2 of them have graduated, 2 older girls, and I have 2 boys there right now at West Shamokin High School. So the idea of a field house was brought up, or was discussed with me and others, going back maybe 2 years ago. And it's been, as far as I can understand, the sentiment of everybody around us, or that is in the West Shamokin School District, that this is a good idea. It's something we've kind of known about or have had problems with. I guess probably since it's opened. I mean, obviously since my daughters have started going there. And the reason being is that, when we initially built West Shamokin, we closed 3 high school gyms of full size. We're left with what we did build at West Shamokin, which is a gym and a half. But we have, the grade schools have multi-purpose cafeteria type gyms, that were never designed to be just gyms. So I think a lot of that's, some uncounted cost of when we built West Shamokin, weren't entirely truthful with what the cost would be, because had we built West Shamokin with the purpose of replacing those high schools, we would have built it with 2 gyms, at least. And there's several of those uncounted costs, I think, that we've hidden behind upon building West Shamokin. Now, to say that West Shamokin's a great school, it's well prepared my daughters for their college after school. I've been overly impressed with what goes on at West Shamokin, but I think when we look at what's being spent, more needs to go to the West Shamokin School District, or to the high school. When you had Dayton, if there was an activity, they would bring them over to the high school. Same with Elderton, same with Shamrock. Had it not been for private institutions or community institutions like Dayton United Methodist, we would have had no place, to really do things like the Dayton Community Choir, those things that we used to do at the high school. Same with Shamrock. They now have to rely on a privately owned, what was the old Shamrock High School gym. Both my wife and I have been involved in youth baseball, youth soccer, youth basketball, just because we see that need there. But with the basketball, we've run into all sorts of problems trying to get gym time. Gym time is so precious right now in our school district. In fact, this predates us as far as the Little Lions. That has been a 50-plus year tradition. Last year was the first year that we didn't have it. Trying to schedule, now that West Shamokin's been successful getting to the playoffs in basketball, now we have even less time. And trying to coordinate that, we ended up not having what has turned in from Little Lions to Little Wolves night. And that's a huge community program that brings out a lot of people. But I've always thought that there's some of those uncounted costs. I know the school district recently has paid money, has gone back to tear down what was left of the Shamrock High School. I sit next to the Dayton High School that has seen better times. It's great that the school district sold it to the borough, which I'm on, for $1. However, it's a monster that no one can, it's changed hands several times. Now we deal with not quite urban blight, but we deal with blight. We've lost our biggest water sewage customer, all those. Those are all costs, though, that began when West Shamokin was built. It's just now that we're going to admit to what that is. Anyways, going back to the field house though, is, you know, we were talking about a gym, and, you know, before, and again, this is the same night as my borough meetings, but before I knew it, you know, I'm looking at a proposal that didn't even include the gym. You know, I don't know why we'd be building a weight room and a locker room and a ticket booth and one coach's office for the 1.5 million. The thing that stuck out to me also was the $300 a square foot. Trying to find $300 a square foot in a price guide, you know, I don't think anybody's building anything for $300 a square foot. Things are good in Pittsburgh. I know that's a Pittsburgh firm and everything, but we're not Pittsburgh, we're not Lawrenceburg or Lawrenceville. You know, we're not seeing, you know, things haven't changed here yet. They're changing in Pittsburgh. They'll come this way eventually. But $300 a square foot seems astronomical. We built, well, West Shamokin was built at about 120, let's say, 129 a square foot, 20 years ago, I know, but I thought it was interesting. Did HHSDR bid on that? The same people that built West Shamokin, did they bid on the field house? I don't know if it's the lack of bids. I know dealing with the Dayton Borough, we put out for bids, sometimes we don't get any, you know. No one wants to pave our streets, no one wants to come up here, no one wants to, you know, that's, I think, a little bit of the crux of being out here. You know, I think we're low on, if you were to go up there, you would find the wood shop projects have been out in the hall for 20 years. Space that maybe could be used where our weight room is, which was just basically a classroom. I was surprised the first time I seen the weight room how small it was. It doesn't have to be extravagant, but that's a pretty tiny weight room. The half gym, I always, you know, my daughters would come back with, hey, we had the half gym, the boys had the full gym. You know, you can't go full out, and practice is what you need to put together a successful team in a half gym. Storage, we're constantly, as boosters and whatnot, we're storing food in with the paper and then with the chemical supplies. We have to do this little dance at the end of the night where someone has to check the locker room so someone appropriately can go in there, because we store a bunch of our pop and food also in there. You know, we don't have one place. We'll deal with it, but, you know, is West Shamokin getting what it should, you know, as far as storage? I think, you know, storage is one of the things that was not on to get the cost down, wasn't appropriately thought of. We don't have a field or a track around the field. Our concession and bathrooms, it's one of the few, I think, in our conference, when you go to those concessions, you realize that you can still watch the game. When you go to our concession, you know, you're going to go around the corner and not watch the game. Minor things, and some, you know, it's great if those people that are working in the concession don't mind not seeing it. Some people don't want to, but generally, you know, that concession stand sits where you can see it. You know, when you look at West Shamokin, now only 20 years old, we've already replaced the columns out front. You know, I mean, they've deteriorated. You know, when I go next door to the 100-year-old Dayton school, you know, it's 100 years of steps there, they're still fine. I don't, you know, you got to watch those construction costs, I guess, and make sure that, you know, we're not just spending money to spend money, that we're spending it appropriately, I think. But again, like, you know, so with our Little Wolves program, or our Little Lions program, the youth basketball program, which is probably the best one in the area. I mean, we play a lot in the Whitfield areas, but I mean, Heritage doesn't have anything like that, not like we have, not from 4th grade on. And then we were doing the kindergarten through 3rd on the Little Wolves night. But we've had to rely heavily on the old Shannock gym, which, you know, either cost us money. We have great owners there, so they've been very gracious, but it was our schedule matrix to try to organize these times between the Shannock Elementary and the Dayton Elementary. Elderton didn't participate for the most part.
Mr. Olinger,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you if you could wrap this up.
Sure.
We typically allot 5 minutes, and we've already allotted 10 minutes to your
Okay.
public comments. So if
All right.
you could wrap it up, I appreciate it.
So I think, our goal was to get another gym. I think that's what we wanted. It took me about 20 minutes on the internet, and I ran into gyms that are building from a place out of Texas, Italy, Texas. They're monolithic domes. They build for around $100 a square foot, or $100, yeah, a square foot. At least half of what you guys are proposing for the 1.5. So either we can spend the 1.5 and build, an 8,000, 9,000 square foot building, or, we could build this 4,700 foot shower room and gym for half the cost, But I don't know who was to dive into that, or, if it was up to the engineers to bring that back, but, we can build this for a lot less. I have some handouts if you want to take a look at what Monolithic does. That was just one company. I don't know if there's other ones out there. That was just, a 5-minute or a 15-minute search. I think we need this gym because I think it's tied to academics. All my kids, if it wasn't for the athletics, I mean, they wouldn't be doing as good in academics. If you look at the top 10 that graduate from West Shamokin, it's all, it's usually the basketball teams, or it's all the athletes. I mean, I think they're one and the same. I don't think you can separate athletics from academics. I think they're one and the same. Looking at that, also, you can print books and studies of how everybody agrees with that. I think if you look at the GPA of the athletes, you'll see that they're much higher than non-participants.
If you'd like to leave that information with us,
sure.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
WTYM, Katanning Ford City, on the radio at AM 1380 and FM 103.7, and online at WTYMradio.com. Radio, computer, or smartphone. Stay connected to radio for your neighborhood.